What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about 5 big major concerns and worries that new soldiers have right before they go to basic training. Alright, so the plan for this video is I'm going to cover a couple things up front that some people are worried about, that I hear all the time, that you don't necessarily have to be worried about, and then one where it's kind of like, you might have to be worried about it a little bit, but not so much. And then the last 2 that I'm going to talk about are things that some people are worried about that, depending on the person, might be an actual valid concern. And the first thing that some people are really worried about, I know I was kind of concerned about this myself personally before I left for basic training, and that is it's going to be difficult, or you're going to have a hard time making friends at basic training. Now, the reason that I was kind of concerned with this is because I'm not one of those people who just goes out there and just makes friends with all types of people, and I'm just a really friendly person. Well, I'm not a non-friendly person, but I just don't make friends like super easy. Like, I don't see somebody and say, hey, I'm gonna make them my friend. That's not how I am. I'm like, I got my friends, I'm cool with that, and I never really put any effort into making much more new friends, if that makes sense. So I was a little bit concerned, I'm going to a whole new environment. How am I going to handle this situation? A bunch of people that I've never met before, a bunch of people from across the United States, a bunch of people even from across the entire world are going to be in your platoon, and you're going to have to make friends with them. And honestly, the reason why this should not be a concern for you, because literally everybody is going to make great friends at basic training. And one of the reasons that that is the case is because of the situations that you're put in. What you're going through at basic training is going to build your friendship. You're going to be forced to be in situations where you're going to have to work as a team. You're going to be forced to be in situations where you just have to sit somewhere for a while, for hours and hours and hours, and you gotta just, what are you gonna do? You're gonna talk to people. You're gonna figure out, the kind of person they are. You're gonna ask them about their life and things like that, and then you'll start talking about all kinds of different stuff, and then eventually you're going to become really good friends with some people at basic training, no matter like who you are. If you're really good at making friends, if you're not good at making friends, you are going to make friends at basic. The next one's a big concern for a lot of people. I actually just got a message, actually a couple messages on this recently, and that is like, just as a whole, the nutrition at basic training, the kind of food, how much food you're gonna have, is there gonna be different options and things like that. A lot of people are just worried about the food because I guess so in the past, the food was just really not all that great. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna go out and dine out at a basic training DFAC or something like that. You're not gonna be doing that. I say that the majority of this food, it's okay, but I would never really go out and pay for it. Like, I'm not, if I'm going to Golden Corral, that food there is, for, subjectively speaking, it's pretty good, and I would pay to go to Golden Corral. The DFAC, I don't know if I would pay to go to the DFAC unless like somebody was in a training scenario and I wanted to go, eat with them. There's really no reason I would want to go eat at the DFAC, but that being said, it's not bad food. You're gonna find something that you like. The breakfast options, the lunch options, the dinner options, you got plenty of options to figure out what you want, and then eventually you will learn what you like. Now, as far as eating out in the field, if you guys didn't know, whenever you're in a field environment, you're out essentially just in the woods and stuff, and you're not able to go into a facility to eat, there's a lot less options for you to choose from. There's usually 2 or 3 options at most. There's always gonna be a vegetarian option, by the way. Some people are worried about that. If you just don't happen to like some of that food, you might have to miss out on a portion of the meal. You might not get the side you want or the main meal you want, but you will have the opportunity to eat something, but you're not gonna be doing that 3 times a day. You're gonna be doing that once a day. And then as far as the MREs go, they're not that bad, considering if you have the opportunity to heat them up. A lot of MREs are just not as good cold, but you don't really have that much time to heat things up at basic training, so you just eat things cold sometimes. And there's gonna be some MREs that you hate, and there's gonna be some MREs that you like, but some of the ones that you hate are gonna be another one that somebody else likes. And so a lot of times, I've talked about this before on the channel, it's kind of like the stock market exchange opening up whenever they pass on MREs, because you get an MRE and you're like, crap, I don't like this, or I don't like this little bit in here. And it's just the stock market. Everybody's like, hey, I'll give you this peanut butter for this, I'll give you this for that, I'll give you this for that. And there's just a whole bunch of trading going on. So if you happen to not like your MRE, odds are you'll be able to trade it for something that you do like. And then the third thing that people worry about a lot that is kind of a concern, but it really kind of just depends on the person, and that is people are worried about themselves messing up and then just having everybody hate on them because they just screwed up and they just screwed everybody over. Because the way it usually works is it's mass punishment. So if one person messes up, the whole platoon is in trouble, and so people are scared, like, oh my gosh, like they just stress out, I am gonna screw up and then everybody's gonna hate me. And for the most part, that's not the case. And the reason that for the most part it's not the case is because you're usually not going to be screwing up over and over and over again, and everybody at some point in time is going to mess up a few times, and then it's just going to, you know, it's just going to be a thing like, oh crap, you know, I get it, like that happens. You talked to the drill sergeant the wrong way, you did this, that, or the other, you forgot something, like it happens, but it's only a bad thing. People will start to be like, oh my gosh, this person right here, they will only be like that if you are screwing up like continually, like all the time, which there is generally that one person per platoon. So hopefully you're not that one person, and if you're not that one person, you're good to go. But generally there is that one guy that just can't seem to get it together. Now here's one that really gets at everybody. This is one that people worry about. This is something that my wife, I talked to her about it, and this is a reason why she couldn't join the military, because she just doesn't do well in high stress environments. When the pressure is on, she just kind of just freezes. Like she just doesn't like it. She doesn't like those situations. So, you know, she's not a sports kind of person. She doesn't like, you know, for example, that pressure. You're on the free throw line, you're gonna shoot. If you miss, you lose. If you get it, you win. Doesn't like those situations. If you're kind of one of those people and you're stressing at basic training, that's probably a valid concern, because the whole point of basic training is to stress you out, to put you in very high stress environments and then make you make a decision based on that. And then bring all these other people in that have their own brains that are probably your peers in age, and you know, potentially if you're put in a leadership position, you have to get all them to do what you want them to do or what the drill sergeant wants them to do, and if you screw up, there's going to be punishment. So there's stress just straight throughout all the base training, from the very beginning to the very end. Even on graduation day, when you're about to graduate, the drill sergeants are getting on you. They're like, oh gosh, if you do this stuff, like they're still, you know, bring you back to red phase, or they'll still smoke you or whatever. So there's gonna be stress from start to finish of basic training. It's gonna be a mental, you know, fight for a lot of people. If you don't deal with stress very easily, it is gonna be a little bit more rough. And if you don't deal with stress easily, just kind of sit in the back a little bit. Don't try to put yourself out there too much. You know, that'd be the kind of person that I would say don't have the drill sergeants know your name. And then also, I wouldn't recommend being in a leadership position, whether that's team leader, squad leader, or PL, which is PG at basic training. I wouldn't recommend doing one of those if you are stressed out, or if you can't make decisions while under stress. And then the fifth and final thing, which is gonna be like a bonus because it's kind of like three things in one. I'm gonna lump all this together. And that is, people are worried about the PT, the corrective training, or I call it smoking, or a lot of people call it smoking. So if I'm talking about smoking or getting smoked, I'm talking about corrective training, and then the shark attack. So those are three physical aspects of basic training, and that's why I'm kind of just lumping it all here together. So people are worried about PT, they're worried about corrective training, and they're worried about the shark attack. Let's just get the shark attack right out the way. People are worried about that. It's not as bad as it seems, and it's over in a short period of time, right? It's not as bad as it seems, at least not anymore. I'm sure 20, 30 years ago is worse than it is now, but it's not as bad as it seems. And if you're in any kind of physical shape, you're gonna go through the shark attack and be like, that really wasn't all that bad. Now, the next thing is the PT. You should only be worried about this if you are sitting there right now being like, oh gosh, I'm worried about the PT, like the PT test, taking it, passing it, failing it, I'm worried about that. If you haven't done your due diligence getting ready for the physical aspect of basic training, then the PT might be an issue, because if you like fail super hard the PT test, they're gonna send you to the fat camp where you might have to, you know, where you're gonna be there for a period of time, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long, and then it's gonna push back your basic training graduation date. So you don't wanna be, you know, just utterly, completely failing the PT test. Now, you can fail a PT test and not worry about that, but there's a difference in failing a PT test by running the 2-mile run a couple minutes slow versus doubling the max amount of time for the 2 mile run. So that's a very, very big difference. So if you're one of those people and you can't run 2 miles in under 26 minutes, 30 minutes, which some people can't do, which you can literally walk 2 miles in under 30 minutes. If you're one of those people, then you should probably be worried about the PT test. And then the corrective training aspect of the physical portion of basic training is both worrisome and not worrisome at the same time. The majority of the time, it's gonna be nothing. It's just gonna be like you're in the front laying rest position, which is the upper part of the push-up position, or you're gonna be doing just push-ups, you're gonna just be doing sit-ups, you're gonna be doing V-ups, you're gonna be doing various different things that the drill sergeants will be having you do for corrective training because somebody screwed up. Maybe everybody is just in the front leaning rest position for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, which is a good amount of time, but it's not like super ridiculously hard. But on the flip side of that, every now and again, you are going to get a drill sergeant so mad, or somebody's going to screw up so much that the corrective training is just gonna suck. It's just really, really gonna suck if you screw up really hard, kind of like how we did. We screwed up and we got smoked basically the whole day. I think I made a video on that, so you can kind of search it or whatever. So if you screw up really bad, or if you piss off a drill sergeant too much, then it's gonna be a bad day. And the way that you get through that is just by knowing that it's gonna be over eventually. So that's with the physical aspect of this. Now with the PT test, it's gonna be over, you know, whatever you pass or you fail. But with the shark attack and with corrective training, just keep in mind that at some point in time, it's gonna stop. Now, on the extreme part of the corrective training, sometimes you might not know, sometimes it might last all day, but on the other side, it's gonna be just a few minutes. It's gonna be 30 minutes max, right? So that's the majority of the time. All right, so that's it for this video. That is me addressing 5 of your biggest worries and concerns before going to basic training. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did. Hit that subscribe button if you want to check out some more of my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. I hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I'll see y'all later.